Come and dream with me.
Hello and welcome to this What Do You Want to Watch Broken News Report for D23 2019. I'm your host, Ashley Hobley, and joining me is Dylan Blight.
I love Mickey Mouse.
Yes, for those who don't know, D23 is a big biannual event held in Anaheim, California, in which they celebrate everything Disney. And since Disney controls everything, that means there's a lot of stuff out now.
Yep.
Kind of perfect timing because they are about to release Disney Plus in the coming months. And in the huge news, it's coming to Australia like a week after it launches in the US. Which is
good news.
Incredible news. Sorry to all our UK listeners. They're very upset because they're not in the first batch. But
it's really weird. But
it is really weird, the couple of places they've chose, but we're the lucky few. Can't complain.
Apparently we have really high Netflix subscriber numbers in Australia or something.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, apparently. So
that would make sense. But yeah, we'll be talking about all that sort of stuff on this proper episode of What Do You Want to Watch coming up this Friday, if you're listening to this in the first couple of days of this release. So let's just jump into it. We'll just start at the most important stuff, I guess. Star Wars. We've got a new poster for Rise of Skywalker. You see Rey, you see Kylo Ren, you see the Emperor. It looks cool. There are lightsabers. It's my phone background now. I think it looks great. Dylan, what are your thoughts?
It's also my phone background now. Crop that sucker into a good lock screen straight away.
Yep.
Tap that bad boy in the house and off it went. Yeah, I see a lot of people complaining because like Palpatine looks like a cartoon character in the background, and he kind of does. But honestly, I don't care. That's my feelings. I feel like it looks cool enough that I don't care if he kind of looks like a cartoon character in the background. I don't care. Doesn't bother me. Cool poster. Better than the last few posters. I was sick of the whole, the typical bunch of different faces and people all over it and whatever else. I like this one. It feels newer. It feels different.
Yeah, it definitely feels very different to the last few posters we've had for the last couple of movies as well. So very interesting and very dark, I guess. I like the blue and running through it. It makes it stand out.
Well, it's presumably the same scene from the Vanity Fair cover shoot where you see them fighting on top of something in water or something like that. But everyone I've seen online has kind of pointed out the fact that in that one, Kylo has his helmet off, and in this one, he has his helmet on, and then it's like
creative choice.
Oh, is it the creative choice, or is it like his helmet comes off in the middle of the fight and that represents something, or you know what I mean? But it seems like this fight, whatever it is, I theorize that it takes place on top of the Death Star that's crashed that you see him walking up to in the trailer or something, because that's like surrounded by water and everything, so that would make sense. I feel like this fight's either very early in the movie or right at the end. You know what I mean? I feel like this could possibly be a really like what the fuck opening fight. I'm like, whoa, fucking was straight into it. Like y'all complain there wasn't enough lightsaber fights in these sequel trilogies. Yeah, how about we just open the movie with a one? Because then it would be like you're straight into seeing how much further Rey's got. Obviously, it's like if the movie just opens with her fighting straight away, or it's towards the end of the movie and it's that sort
probably
of
towards the end of the movie.
That's most likely, but I don't know. I feel like they're going to do some interesting things. Yeah. We're seeing lots of weird things for this movie.
Lots of weird things. So they did release some footage. Unfortunately, it's exclusive to D23, and we haven't seen any leaked camera footage come out yet. I don't know. Maybe they're super strict. I assume they'd be super strict on that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, but we do have a description, which I'm taking from /film. Don't have a writer listed, but here we go. So they did a bunch of nostalgic sizzle reel before they showed the footage. Then they showed a montage of footage from The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi. And then one shot has Rey throwing her lightsaber and then pulling it back with her to her with the Force. An intimidating shot of what appears to be a dozen Star Destroyers in space is truly awesome. C-3PO appears with red eyes for some reason. A rebel fleet exits hyperspace. Red lasers blast towards the surface of a planet. And finally, Rey and Kylo Ren are seen fighting on the wreckage of a Death Star, with water crashing around them. But the money shot came at the end, with Rey wearing a dark-style hooded cloak, igniting a red, double-bladed lightsaber. But this one is different from Darth Maul's in that the handle somehow folds in the middle and transitions from being a single blade to the double blade mode. The Emperor can be heard saying, "Your journey nears its end," during this scene. Are we going to see Rey turning to the dark side? Ooh.
No. I would just say it's some, mind trick thing or, whatever. So it's some kind of weird vision or something like that. I don't think they're going to... You can't take her through to the dark side and then out the other side, or she pretends to be dark so to get close to Kylo, blah, blah, blah. No, I don't reckon that. I just reckon it's some sort of, vision or something like that.
Yeah.
It's cool, though. Sounds cool.
I
don't care if it's a vision. It's still going to look cool.
Tell you what, I wish they just released a trailer with that. Imagine if they had released a trailer with that being the end of the trailer.
Well, I think they might release this footage, this behind the scenes thing, because they did it for the last time. It was exclusive for a while, but they eventually posted it up online, this behind the scenes typey thing or whatever. The most interesting thing for me from this footage that they showed, though, is the Star Destroyers.
Yeah.
Saying there's a whole bunch of ships, because that gets me excited for the potential of there actually being a massive space battle happening as well. I just feel like JJ's potentially just going to go all out, massive fights, both on ground with soldiers and stuff, and lightsabers and whatever else. Massive in space Star Destroyer battles and whatever else. I just feel like it's the final one. You got to tick all the boxes, or you're going to piss someone off. Well, they're going to piss someone off anyway, but and then the other thing I found really interesting is that article doesn't say about it, but the footage actually started with all the other films.
Yeah.
And it went through not chronologically. What's the word for release order, whatever.
Release order.
Yes. Yeah, it went through release order, I suppose. It started showing all the original trilogy movies, then it showed prequel trilogy stuff, and then it came through to the sequel trilogy stuff, and then it showed that footage you just talked about then. So I'm hoping that to really emphasize how much this movie is the end of 8 films before it, not just the end of 2 before it.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that because they had all that in this featurette thing they showed, I guess, or whatever you want to call it, little bonus thing, not a proper trailer. I'm hoping when the next trailer they put out, proper trailer, it actually has something like that. It does show... Like they did with
Endgame. No. Yeah, Endgame.
Yeah, with Endgame, they showed all the movies lead up and stuff. I really feel like they should do something like that for this, especially to show the prequel era stuff and for people to be like, yeah, that counts, and that is important, because in my mind, I'm going to stick to my high hopes that they actually go to a prequel planet, or Palpatine's basically a prequel character. The Emperor is in the original movie, sure.
He was built in the prequels, technically.
Yeah, exactly. The version of Palpatine we know is basically Revenge of the Sith,
Yeah.
So those movies are really important for this movie. So yeah, I'm hoping we get something like that.
Definitely. So the other piece of information that was really valuable, I think, is they showed footage of, or at least photos of Kerry Russell's character, Zori Bliss, a scoundrel who hangs out in the dark corners of the universe. And we learned that she has some sort of history with Poe Dameron. Don't know if it's good, don't know if it's bad, don't know if it's a tense relationship, don't know if it's a good relationship, but they're going to have banter. It's going to be great.
Yeah, I like her costume, so
yeah,
I'm in. I don't feel like they're gonna. I don't feel like they're gonna. I don't want them to do she's a long lost lover or something. I hope it's something like they went to.
They just literally did that with Solo.
Yeah, I'm like, can't they just go to they went to school or something together, but he went off and became a star pilot, and she dropped out and became a scoundrel type story or whatever. But they're just friends, not long lost lovers or something, because that's just too. Yeah. I've got enough love triangles happening in these movies as is. I don't need another character introduced for teasing
purely to
of
be for romance
stuff.
purposes.
Yeah, I don't need that.
No. Then the other piece of massive Star Wars news, we learnt it's been confirmed Ewan McGregor is returning to play Obi-Wan Kenobi in a Disney Plus series. It is going to be set around the time of Solo, apparently. It is apparent. The most interesting piece of information is apparently all the scripts have been finished, and the show is set to begin shooting next year. But they don't list anywhere showrunner, writers, directors, anything. So, whether that's something that they're going to reveal at a later time, I don't know when, or whether they just wanted to save this massive moment for Ewan McGregor returning as Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Maybe D23 is just not the place for it. You know, like it. You have Ewan McGregor come out. That's the story at that point.
Yeah.
That story's so big that if you bring out the showrunner on stage to talk about it or whatever else, no one really cares. Ewan McGregor's there. That's what you're there to do. That's what everyone's going to care about. No one's going to pay two shits to whoever the showrunner is. Well, a core group of people, but general audience is just like, I don't care. Fucking Ewan McGregor's up there, so stop talking. Because if it starts shooting next year, early next year is what they're saying, then yeah, it would have to have showrunner by now. Like who's helping organize and plan this stuff, So yeah. I would say surely they have someone. That's just they're going to announce it at a later point in time, I think. The series itself obviously is really cool. This is the number one. I'm happier that we're getting a series than a movie, to be honest. Because I feel like the Obi-Wan Kenobi movie, I always thought they should do, like exploring his psychological journey, I guess, like in that period of time when he's literally lost all his friends and people he loved, basically. The universe has gone to shit, and now he's trying to look after this last hope.
He's stalking this child from a distance.
Basically, you always wonder what that would do to a man, I guess. And we don't know if that's exactly the route they're going to go, but I find it hard to, like, what other story really are you going to do other than exploring his character? And if you're going to do something that's more about exploring his character than just a bunch of action scenes and whatever else, I definitely feel like a 10 episode. They said 10, right? They did give, or did they? Am I just dreaming that? I felt like they said an actual episode count, but
I don't think so. I'm not seeing it.
Maybe my brain's just picking up because like the Mandalorian's 10 and whatever else. So
10 seems to be standard.
It's going to be like
number.
8 or 10 episodes probably. So, and it'll only be one season, I presume, and that's good. So, I'm looking forward to it. It'll just be like a 10-hour weekly movie because they also announced that the TV episodes are actually coming out week by week, not a Netflix binge it scenario. So I actually really enjoy that because it works way better for us. Because it means that if I want to do,
we're gonna do after show.
Yeah, it means if we want to do a fucking after show for any of this Disney Plus stuff, we can actually do after shows for them. We have a week to discuss and theorize and break down the episodes and do what we need to do there. So that's really good.
Thank you for helping us content creators.
Yes, thank you.
Interestingly, it's put in between the start of they put up this weird timeline of where everything sort of fits.
I love it. It literally looks like that meme, the from Always Sunny in Philadelphia or whatever.
Yeah.
The guy, what's his face with all the dots connected and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So the series is set in between the start of Solo, when I guess Han Solo was a young kid who doesn't have a name, and then the end of Solo when, spoilers for Solo, Darth Maul appears. Do we see Darth Maul appear?
No, we won't. Well, if we do, they won't fight. Hold on. Okay. There's lots of like asterisks on there. Yes, you could have them fight, I suppose. Within canon, you could get away with having them actually fight again in this. However, they can't have it be the last fight. The last fight they ever have, spoilers for Star Wars Rebels, the last fight those two characters ever have...
Spoilers, it's in Star Wars Rebels.
It takes place in Star Wars Rebels. And spoilers, Obi-Wan kills Maul in that episode. So you if they want to have them fight, sure. You can't have it on Tatooine because Maul had never been there before Rebels, so he can't find him there. That would kind of ruin that whole story. So you'd have to have Obi-Wan go off planet and then fight him somewhere else, and then they'll both have to, be a draw and go off and do whatever else. So I'm highly doubtful Maul's going to show up in it, just because of that. And I'm like, I don't feel like I need him. I know a lot of people who don't watch Rebels and don't keep up with canon, of course, are like, oh, because it has Solo, this means Maul's going to be in it. That's what they teased him for at the end, blah, blah, because people who are only watching the movies, I'm like, yeah, I get what you're saying, but that's not how it's going to work, because as much as you want to just be like, the kiddie TV shows aren't canon, they are, and
they're on this poster.
Yeah, it's literally on the poster. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I think if this had been, they said this is set after Solo, then maybe there would have been a bit more credence to it.
I think it's a really good time period because it's perfect for telling that story, right? It's 3-4 years after episode 3 or whatever it is, like roughly something like that. It's not far enough. Yeah, it's not so far after episode 3 that like it's approaching episode 4 territory, but you know what I'm saying? It's really not long after episode 3 in the time period
of things. Yeah.
In the grand scheme of things, a couple years after episode 3 is pretty close to episode 3,
Yeah.
So I actually reckon there's a higher chance he fights Vader in this than Maul, to be honest. Which a lot of people will be like, you can't do that because blah, blah, blah. He fights him on the thing, blah, blah, blah. Well, if you think about episode 4, he says, last time you was the teacher, them, the master, blah, 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 blah. They never really explained how Obi-Wan knew that Vader was Vader because, of course, the last time he saw him, he was dead. You know what I'm saying?
That's true. That's a good point.
So, yeah. So, in my mind, there is a story that you could twist there where Obi-Wan leaves Tatooine because he hears murmurs of Anakin being alive or something, and he leaves Tatooine as much as he knows he shouldn't because he's supposed to be looking after Luke, but he can't help himself because it's Anakin's his best friend and blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? And you could have him go off, find out what happened to Anakin. He's turned into Vader, and those two could face off in a duel again. It would be a draw, of course, but that would work in, like, canon-wise for episode 4 and stuff. Yeah.
Question is, do we see Joel Edgerton return as Luke Skywalker's uncle?
I think he would do it, so yeah. Well, if he's only going to show it, like, he would only potentially have to be there for a couple scenes. Like, I doubt this series will have much to do with young Luke. 100% young Luke will be in it. There's no way they're not going to show, like, a young little boy, like,
Ben Kenobi Luke bumps into young Luke. Luke's kicking the ground. He says, "Man, I hate sand." And Obi-Wan goes, I once knew a boy who hated sand.
Not you too.
Credits roll. But yeah.
Well, so Luke would be, if we're saying it's like at that many years, Luke would be potentially, Luke would be old enough to just be like kind of running around. He'd be a real little kid, I guess. And they could have him playing outside, but he's not old enough to run off and get into adventures, and it's the adventures of young Luke and Obi-Wan kind of thing, you know what I mean? So, and they could interact because Luke is young enough that he would actually forget ever interacting with him before he, of course, in episode 4 is like the crazy Obi-Wan Kenobi, Ben Kenobi out there, that sort of thing, you know what I mean? So that works out canon-wise as well, so.
Yep, interesting.
We'll see. I'm excited.
We'll see.
I'm excited.
We'll see. Then the other thing that we saw, we got the first look, I guess for most people, at The Mandalorian. I believe they showed footage back at Star Wars Celebration that got leaked.
Yeah, I found it on Reddit. It's not what they showed here. This is different.
It's different. So we saw The Mandalorian. We saw a lot of the different characters. I can't remember anybody's name off the top of my head, but Giancarlo Esposito's in it. There's Pedro Pascal. You never see his face.
Well,
he looks like a Mandalorian.
Question. That's the big question. Will he ever take his helmet off?
No, it's like Judge Dredd.
It might be. That's the thing. It might.
At least
it may very well be.
That's a tough acting job if you never reveal your face though.
Well, yeah.
At least Carl Urban had half his face.
Yeah, I'm honestly like, I don't know if he will take his helmet off. it just seems less and less likely. They're literally never showing him taking that helmet off. So, I really enjoyed the trailer though. I like the tone. It literally just does look like the Star Wars bounty hunter show that I feel like most people have been after. I think it's a really good time period to set it to. So in case anyone doesn't know, it's set after episode 6. When
they make it clear because they have all those stormtrooper helmets at the very start on spikes and shit. So
yeah. So it's set after episode 6, but it's still, the galaxy is kind of in disarray because it's like, you take down the Empire, the whole galaxy doesn't just suddenly turn into roses and happy-go-lucky the next day. And they've kind of covered these sorts of stories in the novels as well, like what happens to planets that are under control, like who takes control, like does the new alliance come in quick enough to like help sort out their political systems and these sorts of things. So this is that, and it's like kind of taking place in the outer regions where, your Tatooine areas type stuff where it's shady characters and huts and whatever else, they're hanging out here. And Giancarlo Esposito's character is I think he's an ex-Moff or something. I can't even remember. Either way, he's ex-Empire, and he gets involved somehow. And I think what's her face's character, the female, the MMA fighter or whatever, UFC fighter, whatever she is.
Yeah.
I can't remember her name, sorry, but she's also like ex-Empire or something, I think, as well. But she's just kind of switched over to being this bounty hunter type thing now. We don't.
Gina Carano.
That's it. Gia Carano. Yeah. From Deadpool and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. The trailer is really cool. It shows you a tone and a vibe and a world that looks really awesome. Lots of aliens, which I love. That's another really great thing about this. You see heaps of different looking aliens and species and whatever else, Twi'lek and whatever else in this. It's awesome. Mandalorian armor looks awesome. Love to see that. But you really have no idea what the actual story is the thing.
No.
You know what I mean?
It's still very much in the teasing phase of...
Yes. Which is odd because it's out in, let's say, a month and a half, bit over, I guess. Like,
no, it's like still
2 months.
2 months.
Either way, it's not fucking far away.
I mean, do they need to let you know what's happening? I think we're just going to go in and we're going to watch it.
Well, I don't need to know what's happening. I don't. But do other people? Potentially. You know what I mean? Like different audience, I guess. My big super hope for this series is that we will actually get to find out what happened to the Mandalorians post Empire period and stuff, because they cover the Mandalorians in Star Wars Rebels, but of course that's taking place pre-episode 4 and stuff.
Yeah.
They cover the Mandalorian War. They cover what happens with Darth Maul and the Mandalorians and stuff. We don't know what happens to them after that point because they get taken over and ruled by the Empire. And there's a lot of really cool characters that are introduced in that series, including one played by Katie Sackhoff. And I was listening to a podcast, Collider Live, where she was a guest on there, right? And they asked her straight up, like, have you been asked to maybe play your character live action in the Mandalorian show? And she just went, I can't answer that yes or no. So that's a yes. Come on. To me, that's a yes.
Or she's smart enough to say that to build up hype.
Maybe. I would love to get her character and a bunch of other those characters showing up in this in live action. It'd be great.
I have a feeling this first season will be more on Outer Worlds and that kind of thing. Building him up. And then...
Yeah, for sure. But like
the
last
finale
episode,
is like, he has to go back to Mandalore.
Yeah, something like that. I don't want to show... like, if you want to do a show that's solely about a bounty hunter, you've got a million different
species,
races and species that you could just pick if you want to do something that's just a bounty hunter. If you're going to pick something that's about a Mandalorian and you're not going to explore the Mandalorian heritage and the history of in the Star Wars universe, then you've wasted your time, as far as I'm concerned, you know? So there's... Or else just fucking have the series star fucking Bosk or some shit, you know? Whatever. I don't care about his whatever species he is. I don't care about his history. But you're showing me a show that's called The Mandalorian. I want to get into Mandalorian history and what's happening with them. So yeah.
I'm keen. The trailer looked pretty solid. That fight scene looked rough. Like he knows what he's doing. Especially when he's shutting that door on that dude. That guy's getting severed in half. He's getting severed. It's great. So yeah, Mandalorian coming. It launches 12th of November, but I guess we'll get it the 17th of November when it launches in Australia. I assume we'll be getting it. It'll be out day one when we get it.
Well, when does Disney Plus launch it? 17th. Is that what we're saying?
Let me just check on explosionhammer.com. We have.
Because doesn't Disney Plus launch early October? No, mid October.
Yep. So it launches 19th of November here after launching 12th of November in the US.
Okay, and Mandalorian's
So
out.
if episode 1 drops at launch in America on the 12th,
Yeah.
and they're doing it weekly, so episode 1. So possibly we could have episode 1 and episode 2 when it launches here.
Yeah, so possibly it launches with episode 1 and then there's like a day or two and then episode 2's up kind of thing.
Yeah.
Or it's just out day and date. Either way, it's not a big deal. Really.
Not really.
In the scheme of how bad we could have had it. I'm happy to wait a week.
It's potentially 6, 12, 15, 100 months.
I will happily dodge spoilers for a week and just accept that we have it, you know?
Yeah.
Because there's only that 1 week. Once we've got it here, we're set.
There's no coming back.
There's no come back.
And then the only other piece of Star Wars news is that Star Wars Clone Wars is coming back February 2020. Is that soon enough for your liking?
I mean, yeah. I mean, I'm going to watch it. I'm super excited, obviously. But I was like, February, fuck. Like, for some reason, I really thought they were just going to... I don't know. It's hard, I suppose. Because the Mandalorian Episode 9, the Cassian Andor series and stuff. I kept wondering where it was going to fit in. February is an interesting month, though, I feel. But at the same time, I guess they're going to take into account the Million and Over TV series and stuff that they're dropping on Disney Plus. So it's like
that, and you give people time to watch the Clone Wars up to season whatever. Before
I guess because they'll all be on Disney Plus day of launch. I guess as part of okay. Yeah, makes sense. Then.
Makes sense. I don't think they released any more information about the series, but
nope, there was a poster or a screenshot or something like that of Ahsoka walking away and whatever else. I was like, cool.
All right, so that was all the Star Wars news. Let's move into Marvel. Kicking off with another movie they've added to the release schedule, Black Panther 2, coming May 6th, 2022.
Yeah, this was
obvious.
I don't care news. Yeah, this was, hey, there's a Black Panther sequel. We all knew this was happening. They put a date on it, I feel, to just appease people who keep asking for a date. And then all those people who kept asking for a date are now just like, well, that's too far away. Like,
it
well,
is
what
too
the
far
fuck?
away.
It is ages away, but at the same time,
it's going to be 4 years, bit over 4 years between releases. So, I mean, that's not terribly long, but
it's not like. And the thing is, people act like they have to wait 4 years between these movies. They don't. Like, if you take the Marvel universe as like each movie is an episode continuation of a TV series or however you view the shit, it's not actually like you're waiting 4 years. Sure, you're waiting 4 years between Black Panther movies, but you're not actually like X amount of years between like Star Wars movies or something else that actually has breaks with nothing. You know what I mean? Black Panther could show up in another movie for all you know.
I don't think he will.
Well, I'm just saying.
You look at that schedule. There's not a lot of crossover potential.
Well, I'm happy to wait because
except maybe in Doctor Strange. That's the only one he could show up in.
I'm happy to wait because Black Panther was my favorite of the Marvel universe. I think it's the best of the movies. And if like, do I want them to fucking rush our sequel that I'm like, 6.5 or 7 out of 10, meh? You know? No, I want the sequel to be just as good. And Ryan Coogler's in it. Like, let the man work.
That's the only thing I'm sad about. We're going to have to wait 4 years, another 3 years for another Ryan Coogler movie.
Maybe he'll go do some like indie thing in between though.
That's true. Maybe.
Yeah. You'll just take 3-4 months off and film some shit.
Yep. Still on the movies, we got some more information about the Eternals. They Captain Marvel star Gemma Chan will be playing the role of Cersei in the Eternals. Think the first person to double up roles in the Marvel universe. this
Doesn't
time she
work.
won't be like some Greek and alien. So
Yeah, but I saw people online be like, they've cast someone who's played someone before. Like, how does this make sense? People are going to get confused when they see the same actress. I'm like,
no,
unless
you won't recognize her at all.
Yeah, unless you're in the know, you will not recognize her at all. So it doesn't matter. Like, it's fine. I don't care about this cast. Yeah, this casting's fine. It's like, you like her. Like, they liked working with her. She liked working with Marvel. They were happy to cast her in something else. Okay.
Yep. They also cast Barry Keoghan from Dunkirk and Chernobyl as the role of Droog in the Eternals. And then, in a piece of casting brilliance, it's going to be a real stretch for him. Kit Harington is going to be playing a character called Black Knight. Because he hasn't been playing a character who was a knight and wearing black clothes for like 8 seasons of a show. So,
well, and is it actually... I saw people complaining about this online. I think I saw someone write something along the lines of like, what a waste not to have him actually be one of the Eternals. I'm like, what? Why does it matter if he has like actual cosmic powers versus like something else? But
I don't know.
It's fucking huge cast as well. And then I saw people complaining because Angelina Jolie's like a supporting character, I guess.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. We haven't even seen the movie yet. Just don't complain about it yet.
Yeah. I'll tell you something though. They bring them all out on stage. Kamal Nanjiani looking buff as fuck.
Working out.
The ultimate proof that it doesn't matter who you are. If Marvel pays for you to have a personal trainer and do nothing,
you'll get muscles.
But do that, and like that's your job for 6 months is just to do what your personal trainer tells you to do. Anyone can get buff. Is the story we take from that? Yeah.
Yeah,
I used to listen to this dude do a podcast.
Just throwing Kamal under the bus. He would have never got buff without that Marvel money.
He wouldn't. Half these fucking people would. Chris Pratt wouldn't have got buff without fucking Marvel money. You're trying to tell me that boy would have got buff without that Marvel job?
I mean, I don't think he had the job before he got buff. I think that was
they wouldn't give it to him.
He's like, hey, give me 6 months. I'll show you how buff I can get.
Yeah, and they paid him to have a personal trainer.
Anyway, it'll be interesting, I guess. None of them look super iconic or anything, but
I think that's
kind of the point,
though, isn't it? Yeah.
But yeah, Eternals is going to be an interesting one. Speaking of people who need to be buff, they announced 3 new Disney Plus series: She-Hulk, Miss Marvel, and Moon Knight. Kind of surprising lineup, I guess. I mean, they'd all been rumored at various points, but I guess for those who don't know, She-Hulk is the cousin of Bruce Banner, Jennifer Walters, who gains the powers of the Hulk after a blood transfusion, as well as all these problems. But while she's gained massive strength, she never lost her passion for justice and continues to work as a lawyer. You know, so we're going to get a Marvel Universe lawyer drama.
I'll say I'm excited for that one. She-Hulk. I think She-Hulk has a lot of potential. I'm down for that.
Is it CG? Is the question.
No. Well,
so in the comics, she stays green all the time, and has a proper intellect and everything. Not like
because
I guess she's technically like the Hulk is now.
Yes, but she was designed as like a super fit, basically not ridiculously like Hulk, humongous, smash
not
everything.
Hulk huge.
It was
still big.
No, she was above what would be considered
She'd be like 7 feet tall.
On normal means, but it's not stretched to the possibility, not stretched too far that it looks
monstrous.
Monstrous, yeah, exactly. So I don't know if they will do. Yeah, it's like there's the question. I mean, they do everything in CGI, but at the same time, like, why do that if you can just hire a? I mean, I'm sure there's, just hire some buff fucking tall. They exist.
But what if they can't act? I mean, do you get a name actor or do you find an unknown?
I don't know. Like, it's interesting. I presume it'll be CGI'd somewhat just because they're so reliant on CGI and they've got money.
They've got to be green and they're not going to paint somebody. That sounds like
Yeah.
a terrible idea.
Yeah.
So, I
that's
mean,
fair.
if you're going to CGI, you might as well just go whole hog and get the best actress possible.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, they're going to have before scenes, so you'll have a before and then an after.
Yeah.
Then they have also announced they're going to do Miss Marvel, who is a Pakistani superhero who protects the streets of Jersey City with her one-of-a-kind embiggening powers. And she's also got a healing factor. A new addition to Marvel Comics, kind of surprising, I think, because I'm pretty sure she's, like, technically an Inhuman, and that I'm pretty sure that's a dirty word around the MCU. So
Maybe it doesn't mean they'll say it.
yeah.
Once again, I think this series has a lot of potential, and I think it's really good they're doing this one. Obviously, just for what the fuck is the word? It stars a Muslim. It's a Muslim superhero. What do you want? What do you want? You know?
Yeah, definitely. Kind of feels that kind of like Spider-Man young hero void, I guess, potentially.
Yeah, potentially.
And then the last one of those three, Moon Knight, who is he's pretty much like a crazy Batman. That's the easiest way to explain it. He's a guy who's struggling with multiple personalities and amoral inclinations. And he goes around dressed as a white version of Batman, pretty much.
Basically.
Given his powers by an Egyptian god or something, possibly.
Yeah. I know very basic level.
Yeah, same.
Shit. I read like one volume once, I think. I've known like I've read like one volume once because it was on sale for like $5. Didn't super grab me. I don't know enough about the character to get excited about this one. And as you said, his the character's setup isn't super enthralling to me either. You know what I mean? Like a crazy version of Batman, whatever.
Yeah.
Out of these three, this is the least exciting to me, I feel.
Yeah. I feel like it's going to be the MCU version of Punisher. Because they didn't like how the Marvel Netflix one was done. So to do something similar-ish, cool fight scenes, it's going to be cool. I guess it's sort of like Deadpool-ish, I guess, with wacky, but maybe not with wacky. Won't be as fun as Deadpool, but you know.
No. It also won't be as bloody as Punisher.
It'll be, oh yeah, because this is Disney Plus is like a family-esque. So maybe not as violent as that.
Well, I don't know. We're yet to see, to be fair, like how far they're willing to
It'll be
push the things.
The movie level violence.
Yeah.
Aliens will get blown up, but you know, no people will be stabbed or anything.
Yeah.
Or killed. Then we got some more information about WandaVision. And I guess the most interesting thing about this is Randall Park and Kat Dennings are coming back from their roles in Ant-Man and the first two Thor movies as their characters from those. Which seems the most odd pairing to have brought back. I guess Endgame, Thor Dark World is on everybody's mind. Natalie Portman's coming back. Kat Dennings coming back. When are we getting the Stellan Skarsgård coming back? That's what I want to know.
Forgot he was in it.
I don't know. Yeah.
Oh, I saw the concept art, and that got me excited because it basically says they're doing Vision by Tom King, which I read either late last year or the start of this year. I honestly can't remember, but I've read it within the last 12 months, and it was really, really good. It's probably one of my favorite comic books I've read in the last 12 months. So seeing the concept art depicting that setup, and because that comic book's about the Vision and Wanda living a normal suburban life, and the concept art they had for this was them sitting in home, kind of living a normal suburban life, but you saw the like silhouettes in the background representing their like superhero forms, I guess, kind of forming in the background. It won't follow directly the storyline of the comic because, well, I don't want to spoil the comic, but just thinking about the comic, none of that's going to make sense in this. So it's obviously just going to be maybe a general sort of thing or whatever. But then I'm like, there's still a million questions, like how Vision comes back and whatever else.
Yeah.
So.
But I mean, Wanda has, in the comics, she's got universe altering or dimension of altering powers, so whether she gets a bit of an upgrade, crazy things happen. So it's been described as being half MCU epic and half sitcom, and they did show like a brief reel or something, because they haven't actually shot anything yet, but the brief footage was eerie and bizarre, cutting between scenes from the Dick Van Dyke Show and Wanda and Vision from the MCU movies. So I guess that's the tone they're kind of going for, like a creepy 60s era-esque TV show. Interesting. And then the last bit of Marvel news, we got some more information about Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Anthony Mackie and Sebastian Stan were there. Apparently, there's a poster up. Sebastian Stan's got a haircut. Girls going wild. Yep. Interestingly, Emily Van Camp is returning as Sharon Carter. But post making out with Captain America, which was the last thing we saw her do. It's going to be awkward.
Now it's his daughter.
It's his niece.
And now Bucky's going to fuck his best friend's
first kiss in 50 years.
And first also relative, possibly.
It's weird. But they also announced that Wyatt Russell, who Kurt Russell's son, but also was the lead in Overlord from last year, is going to be playing John Walker, who is a character who plays the villain or hero, depending on the time period, US agent or super patriot, a character who was initially introduced as representing the opposite type of patriotism to Captain America, which, in this time period could be a pretty interesting concept, in my opinion. A corporate controlled superhero who maybe is a little bit more right-leaning or very right-leaning. A super Trump fan as a superhero. That could be interesting, or especially
it would be interesting
against the black Captain America.
It would be interesting if I believe they were willing to go that direction.
Let me dream.
Yeah, I highly doubt it.
But, he could be working with we know Daniel Bruhl's coming back as Baron Zemo, so
yeah, they could tease that direction, but they'll never openly say it.
Maybe not rights, but like corporate controlled. That could be a thing. But yeah, that's got me slightly more interested in it. So
I'm still at the whatever. I'll take Scarlet and Vision over that, to be honest.
Yep. Okay, so moving on to some of the other Disney properties, we got our first look at Cruella, in which Emma Stone plays the classic role of Cruella de Vil in the live-action film, directed by Craig Gillespie. It's coming out May 28th, 2020. It was recently pushed, I believe. It looks like Cruella de Vil. It looks like the live-action... who played her? Meryl Streep, was it? No.
Oh, fuck, I can't remember, actually.
Oh,
that's a good question.
That's not Meryl Streep.
Glenn Close.
Glenn Close! Man, how terrible is that? Me mixing up all my old white ladies.
They all look the same.
They do all look the same. But yeah, she's got the black and white hair. I mean,
I didn't even know they were doing this, and I was like, cool. Emma Stone weirdly works for this role, apparently, because this one's picture I'm seeing looks really good. I'm still like, I think the original's good and holds up fine. Like, I watched it on TV a couple of years ago, I think. I was like, this is still fine. So I'm hoping they change enough elements for this to be warranted, change the character of Cruella de Vil somewhat, I guess, especially if it's going to be a younger version, I guess, like change why and what she's doing or whatever else, something. But yeah, I mean, I'm open for this being good. I'm not like sold.
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting idea of a person who, at least in 101 Dalmatians, wants to skin animals to make a suit or something.
Yeah, I'm like,
how do you make that person the hero? Or I guess they trying to recapture the success of Maleficent, which is getting a sequel later this year. But I don't know how you do that with a character like this.
Yeah, they'll have to change what she's
Elements.
trying to do with the dogs, I guess.
But does she succeed in this movie with some other animals?
The second we find out that she's killing dogs to make them in, or any kind of animal to turn them into coats, like I think most audiences are going to be like, yeah, that's the character in the shit book for the rest of the movie.
How quickly does Peter start protesting this movie?
Well, I'll check Twitter.
Not yet. We got a little bit more information about the next two Pixar movies. We have Onward, the movie that's coming out later this year, March 6th, 2020, directed by Dan Scanlon, who previously directed Monsters University. It's the one where they've got elves that are set in like a modern day mundane world with cell phones and stuff, and the magic's gone. Interestingly, it sounds like it's going to be a bit more of a tearjerker than we'd possibly expect. The film is inspired by Scanlon's father's death, when Scanlon and his brother were younger, and their relationship. Scanlon decided to write the story after hearing an audio clip of his father much later in life, and describing it as a magical experience. So in this film, the two protagonists, played by Tom Holland and Chris Pratt, will be embarking on a quest to discover if there's still magic in the world in order to spend one day with their father, who died when they were too young to remember him. I guess this sort of description has made me far more interested in this film than I think the first teaser that came out a while ago that just looked like elves.
Yeah,
generic elves.
That first teaser was very generic. I was like, you're not sold me, but yeah, the synopsis, could be interesting, I guess. I'm definitely would need to see it more of a trailer to get super on board, but also it was just making me think of that fucking Will Smith, Joel Edgerton fantasy Netflix movie. What was that called?
Bright.
Right. It's like you think of Bright. In the world run by magical creatures, they set out to discover if there's still magic out there.
Oh god. Yeah, I think this will be much different.
Yeah, I think so. It'll be good.
and you won't feel bad watching it.
Yeah.
So then we also got more information about the other film, Soul, that's being directed by Pete Docter, who previously did Inside Out most recently. And this seems like a spiritual successor, pun intended, to Inside Out, whereas that one was about how you get your emotions. This one's talking about how you get your soul. It seems to be dealing with the afterlife and what goes into people. The premise is Joel Garner is a middle school music teacher who has long dreamed with performing jazz music on stage, and finally gets a chance after impressing other jazz musicians during an open practice at the Half Note Club. However, an accident causes Gardner's soul to be separated from his body and transported to the U Seminar, a center in which souls develop and gain passions before being transported to a newborn child. Garner must work with souls in training, such as 22, a soul with a dim view on life after being trapped for years at the U Seminar, in order to return to Earth. Is this too heady for kids? It sounds like it's too heady for kids.
Possibly. I was just looking at the cast though, and I was like, this just got a good cast.
Yep.
So I'm in. I'm
so
sold.
Jamie Foxx, Tina Fey, Questlove, Felissa Rashad, and Dovey Diggs. So pretty stellar cast. It sounds interesting. They seem to be exploring interesting ideas. Pete Docter is open. He's in charge of Pixar now, I'm pretty sure. So he's free to do whatever he wants, and it seems like he's taking full advantage. But yeah, it definitely.
Well, I really like Inside Out, so
yeah, it definitely sounds like it's a spiritual successor to Inside Out. It's exploring the same sort of themes, I guess, sort of.
I'll say also, since we just went over both of these movies that are coming out next year, I'm more excited for both of these going into next year, simply because this year's basically been sequels and whatever else. It's what do we got? Toy Story 4, Frozen 2. What else we got? All the live action versions and stuff. There'll be some of that
Angry
next year as well.
Birds.
But fucking Angry Birds. At least I know that I'm getting 2 original Pixar Disney things
Yeah.
next year. That's cool.
The other interesting thing about this is from a musical standpoint, there's going to be jazz songs written by John Baptiste, who most people will probably know from working on the Late Show with Stephen Colbert, but he's a pretty solid jazz musician. But the film score will also be done by Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross, who we all know from The Social Network, and Trent Reznor obviously from Nine Inch Nails. So, seems a very odd pairing. Those two on a Pixar movie.
But also, Jamie Foxx played Ray Charles. So if this movie is doing some
jazz
soul
stuff.
music,
Yeah,
jazz stuff, whatever you want to, he can do it.
He can.
He can do it. I'll take it.
Cool. Then they provided some more information about Frozen 2. Apparently, Frozen 2 will explore why Anna was born the way she was, giving her incredible ice powers. The sequel will also expand on Anna and Elsa's parents, including where they were going when their ship was wrecked in the middle of a storm at sea. It's their past that takes our main characters on a new adventure in an enchanted forest far away from Arnendale. To the surprise of no one, there's going to be more songs. Although apparently the music... They're hearing musical voices in their head, which is going to play into the story. So... and Evan Rachel Wood is going to be playing their mum.
Oh.
Well, the only teaser we've seen so far, they weren't singing in, so to confirm there's going to be songs in this.
The very dark teaser where it's all like thunder and darkness and then she's running across the water and then, well, it does get brighter when they go into the forest and stuff. And whatever. I saw it in cinema when, I think I played it when I watched Once Upon a Time in Hollywood actually, but what a weird fucking thing to play.
Yeah, what a huge crossover audience.
They lost trailers, I think, and they're like, "Fuck, what do we show? Frozen 2, sure, let's go." Yeah, I watched Frozen 1 at the start of the year or late last year, whenever the hell it was. I thought it was fine. I personally will just go. I'll probably just go see the sequel without even watching trailers and stuff. You know, I'll just go. So,
well, you and every other child in the world.
Yeah. Exactly. So, do they need to really release more trailers for this and details? No. All they need to do is just put out a bunch of merchandise and posters and stuff. Like, so that families know that, and a soundtrack. Yeah. They don't actually need trailers for this movie, I don't think. They just literally, just put out a song, put out some merchandise. That's it. That's your promotion. Done.
And then they announced the other Disney animation film that's going to be coming out next year, Raya and the Last Dragon. In a land called Kumandra, split into 5 different regions, a warrior named Raya searches for the last dragon in the world. It seems to have more of a Southeast Asian influence. It's not your typical dragon. And it will be played by Awkwafina, who is maybe one of the most in-demand actresses out there at the moment. I feel like she's in nearly everything at the moment. But yeah, this is something original again. A bunch of story artists are getting their chance to do their directorial debut. But yeah, interesting. Could be cool. Not much to it, but
not much to go on. So
I mean, the concept art looks pretty. It looks like a Disney movie. Again, 3D, so cool. Then we also got a bunch of other trailers. We got the trailer for Lady and the Tramp coming to Disney Plus. I'm not sure if you watched this one, Dylan.
I watched it. Yeah.
It was fine in my opinion. Interesting to see this in contrast to The Lion King. There were real animals.
Well, this just looks like it's aimed at kids.
Yeah, definitely.
And I'm perfectly fine with the trailer. I saw a lot of people making fun of it because it's like the whole cats and dogs like effect where you make animals talk or whatever, you know, like
it's
real life.
Old school.
It's old school way. But to be honest, as someone who watched Cats and Dogs when he was a kid and loved that movie dearly, I'm going to watch this. Will it be good? Yeah. I don't know. But I'm going to watch it. And at worst, I'm like, that movie was terrible. But there was some cute doggies in it. Like what's the worst that can happen?
I mean, it's fine. I wasn't sold either way. whether it's good or whether it's bad. I'm just surprised they didn't put the spaghetti scene in there.
They did. They teased it at the end.
Did they?
Yeah. They're sitting
Clearly
in front
wasn't
of the
paying
bowl.
enough attention.
Yeah.
I don't know.
teased
I
it.
feel like the voices aren't right. They just didn't
but
click
they
for
might
me.
be still like they might probably aren't done. I guess.
Yeah,
You know,
that was the
Them
only other
still-
thing, but
Still might be working on the
could be.
syncing or whatever.
Yeah, that's coming day dot on Disney Plus, so another reason to go to that. Then they also showed High School Musical, the series. Showed a trailer for that.
Worst name for anything ever.
It is, but it looks like a Glee-esque high school drama.
Well, it's real people. That's the thing. That's the real confusing thing. It's
No.
not a TV show.
No, it is. It is. It's an acted. It's all staged. This one's all staged.
Oh, I thought it was a documentary.
There's a documentary. We'll get to it in a second. But yeah,
It's too confusing. Fuck.
I
Man.
know. It's It's got that Office X thing where it seems like they're going to be interviewing people off screen to progress the story along. Shot into like a fakementary. No, what's the word for it? Fake documentary style.
Yeah, The Office. That's
Yeah,
the style. That's,
The Office. It's shot in that style with a bunch of
Mockumentary.
kids. Mockumentary. That's the word I was looking for. Thank you. It's going to drive me crazy, but yeah, it looks. If you liked Glee and that sort of thing, or you liked High School Musical, I'm sure you're going to enjoy this. Seems
No
to be
Zac
a lot of
Efron,
team
though.
drama. They also showed a trailer for Disney Plus original film Noelle, which Anna Kendrick plays the daughter of Santa Claus, and Bill Hader plays the son of Santa Claus who's about to become Santa Claus. But then he gets a nervous breakdown right before Christmas. He disappears, and then she's got to go save the day and find Santa.
They announced this movie 2 years ago.
Really?
Yeah, that's the first time I ever heard about this movie and read about this movie was nearly over 2 years ago. I feel. I googled to find a clip to see if there was people talking about it on something, and there was stories like people covering it from years ago. If you go look, so I don't know where the fuck happened. Like maybe it was being talked about years ago, but it just took so long for them to actually film the fucking thing, or it's been sitting on a shelf for ages. I honestly don't
sitting
know.
on a shelf. They're like, what are we going to do with this film? It's not quite good enough for us to put out in theaters.
Yeah, but
we'll come up with this service where we can chuck it on there before Christmas.
I'll be honest. As terrible as it sounds, it's a Christmas movie, and I'll watch it.
Yeah,
Like,
probably. I mean, last
there's
year we had the Kurt Russell Sexy Christmas Santa.
Yeah,
This
exactly.
year we got Young Santa.
Yeah,
Pretty sure it's also got Billy Eichner in there as like their cousin, who's backup
Sure.
Santa.
Sure. I don't care. I'll watch it.
It's a weird one.
It looks weird. I don't care.
Okay. And then we had a trailer for Encore, which is the series that Dylan got mixed up. Pretty much it's a documentary series in which they get old musical casts from high schools to go back to their high school and reperform their high school performance. It looks
Veronica
pretty
Mars hosts
solid.
it.
It looks like it's going to be one of those feel-good shows. You know, they got a guy who since high school has unfortunately been in a car accident and is in a wheelchair, who's going to be like a dancing guy in his wheelchair. It's going to be cool. It's got Kristen Bell in it, just hosting.
I would
but she's also gonna be
watch
there.
this over the other High School Musical thing.
I feel like it's going to be a feel-good hit.
Okay.
It gives those vibes. They also showed a teaser, I guess, for The World According to Jeff Goldblum. I didn't know Jeff Goldblum had so much personality, I guess. Or like, maybe he's like putting it way on now, or he was holding it back for a long time.
Why do you reckon people always meme about him?
No, I mean the characters, he just talks in an odd way.
I mean, he's an eccentric dude. I don't know. That's
Yeah.
you know.
I mean, it's interesting. He's going to be exploring different topics. It's like a National Geographic series.
Yeah.
So
People will watch it.
people watch it for Jeff Goldblum. And he gives one hell of a pun in the trailer. He says, I'm a late bloomer. You could even say I'm a late Gold bloomer.
Did you see that clip that was going around of him being asked about Spider-Man leaving?
No, I haven't
MCU?
watched that yet.
Yeah, that's fucking funny. Like the lady's like, "Have you heard what's happening to Spider-Man?" He's like, "Oh my god, what's happening to Spider-Man?" And she's like, "Well, Sony's having this whole deal," and he's like sitting there like holding his face, like listening, and he's like just like shaking his head. And he's like, "Oh my god, that's terrible. They'll work it out." It's so funny.
And then they also had a trailer for One Day at Disney, a documentary series that will explore everybody who sort of works at Disney. So they showed people working at the theme parks. They showed people working at ABC, the television network that Disney owns. And people working on different sets and everything. Looks like a real cool behind-the-scenes series. So that's definitely one to be checking out.
I'm going to watch this.
I
like this. This looks good.
It looks really good.
It looks good.
There was some other stuff there, but it's not super important. The only other big breaking news from this was that they've revived a Disney live-action series from back in the day. They're bringing back Lizzie McGuire for starring Hilary Duff. She's going to be 30. She's going to be in New York doing stuff. I never watched Lizzie McGuire. I think I was just above the age bracket.
Let me tell you, Ash. You saved the best for last. Am I telling you what? Because boy golly, did I look up how many episodes there was and like, am I too old to rewatch all of Lizzie McGuire before they do the revival series? Am I? Because Lizzie McGuire, Ashley Hobley, Ashley Hobley, was a show I watched every day after school. Every fucking day. We won a family pass out of the newspaper to go watch the movie ahead of its release, early screening.
Ooh.
That was the first early screening I went to in my entire life, was the Lizzie McGuire movie. She goes to fucking Paris or something. It's been a while. But Lizzie McGuire is good shit, right? Now, they're bringing Lizzie McGuire back, and it's definitely not going to be like the original show, because the original show was aimed at kids. And I'm hoping, or theorizing, that they can't make a show that stars a 30-year-old aimed at kids. That ain't going to work. So I'm hoping the show will actually be aimed at people like me who grew up watching it and now want to watch a more adult-orientated show about where that character's at now. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Because I'm like, how do you do a show where the main character's like 30 and she's dating and has kids? I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, how's all that work for the original audience it was aimed at? Plus, kids these days don't know who the fuck Lizzie McGuire is. So it has to be aimed. The audience for this has to be
nostalgic.
People who grew up.
People who grew up with it. Yeah.
Nostalgia and stuff. But boy, golly, I'm excited for this one. This
hit you right in the sweet spot.
Yeah, it did. This is one of those shows. Like everyone, well, to be fair, I feel like everyone on Twitter these days is fucking all capsing about everything that's announced, and they're like, "Oh my god, I love this thing so much." You can't be that excited about every fucking announcement. That was this is on my little tangent. Every motherfucker, and I'm not going to call out names, but while this is on, like the amount of times certain people would quote retweet in all caps, be like, "Oh my god, oh my god!" I'm like, you're literally every announcement. You're like, ah! I'm like, there's no way you're that excited for literally everything that's being.
Tell you what, I wish I could be that excited about anything.
Yeah. I wasn't like, oh, this is amazing. But my level of excitement for this was enough that when it got announced, I literally walked out I talked to my mum. I'm like, "Mum, do you remember Lizzie McGuire?" She's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "They're bringing it back." And then I was like, "Remember we went to see the movie?"
They're reviving it.
Yeah, I was like, "Remember we went and saw the movie?" She's like, "Nah." I'm like, "Well, Mum, that was a very important memory from my childhood, and you should fucking sort your shit out."
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. Obviously, I'll be intrigued to see how it pans out. Apparently, there was talk of it being revived a while ago as like a network sitcom on ABC. So they've been thinking about this for a while. So, I mean, it's not out of the blue, but yeah, crazy. Out of all the properties to announce at D23, Lizzie McGuire.
Well, it's one of those things I can't because I was so young when I was watching it. I wasn't old enough to be able to pay attention to things to know, like, is this just popular with a small group of people, or is this like, for my age group, was Lizzie McGuire like really one of the most popular shows at the time? You know, like I don't actually know how popular it was, other than that me and my brother watched it every single night, and my friends watched it. So I don't know.
Clearly, very popular. Popular enough for it to get a revival.
Yes, yeah, that's true.
All right, that's everything from D23. Huge event. Very good. If you want to, we'll probably talk about it a little bit more on this week's episode of What Do You Want to Watch. We can find at explosionnetwork.com or on all good podcast services. Like, well, I guess you're listening technically on this feed, so that's kind of redundant. Dylan, where can people find you on the internet?
Follow me at Vivaldil, Vivaladil. If you have Lizzie McGuire fan theories, what the next season's going to be about, feel free to hit me up.
Yeah, and you can find me on Twitter at Ashley Hobley, ASHLEYHOBLEY. You can also follow the Explosion Network on Twitter at ExplosionPod. And if you got any free time, you like these, leave us a review either on Apple Podcasts or on Podchaser, or just tell your friends about how much you like people talking about Disney, our entertainment overlords. Thank you very much for listening to this Broken News Report, and until next time, keep watching stuff, I guess. Every Saturday, catch Arcade Couch Ashley and others when you listen to a brand new episode of Arcade Couch, the Explosion Network's variety video game podcast. Sit back, relax on the couch to chill with your friends and hear about the latest industry news, as well as our opinions on the latest releases and what we've been playing. Just search your podcasting app for Arcade Couch and subscribe for free now. Hashtag Physical Media Forever. Hashtag Physical Media 2038. Hashtag Cuties.